What is a true fact that sounds like a conspiracy theory? Project Sunshine, in which the US government, in the wake of dropping atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, ordered a major study to better understand the effects of radiation exposure nuclear fallout on the human body, so an international network of agents was recruited to locate recently deceased children, and steal body parts from them to use for testing. Scary but very true. I'm an X-ray student and we talk about this a lot in class. A lot of rules and regulations regarding medical radiation exposure are all based off data from exposed Japanese citizens. Edit. Fun fact: bed or banana equivalent dose is an informal radiation unit. Bananas give off approximately 0.1 microsieverts of radiation and can be used as comparison when studying radiation exposure. Thanks for reading. So what were the findings? Essentially, they were able to correlate the amount of exposure to its physical genetic effects. For example, if you were exposed to X amount of radiation, you will experience Y side effects. They were also able to create dose limits, which essentially is a guideline that shows the maximum amount of radiation one can receive before experiencing physical genetic effects. Edit, spelling error. Thank you for actually answering the question and not making a stupid half-ass joke. That's very interesting. Reddit admins have access to an infinite amount of gold. This is so that they can give gold to posts comments they want to see rise quickly and in turn, will promote content that Reddit wants advertisers to see. Edit, USPAs. You mean to tell me that Reddit gold isn't backed by physical gold? Bohemian Grove. Some of the world's most rich and powerful men meet up for a retreat in California. And do weird shit around an owl shrine. I'm in Cali. Who wants to crash it? Why not at this point? I'll hit up Alex Jones. Grab some DMT. If there's DMT, we won't even have to ask Joe Rogan, he'll just show up. It's entirely possible. Jamie, see if you can pull that up. The FBI sent an anonymous letter to Martin Luther King Jr. telling him to kill himself. https://n.m.wikipedia.org Wikif Biking suicide letter. Edit, added the link for context. Was very tired last night when I posted this and didn't even think to actually give people access to the letter. My bad. The reason only the orange variety of carrots is widely available is because the Dutch like the color orange. They leverage their powerful trade networks to make it so. I love that everything else on this thread is about assassination and biochem warfare, and then Therese just the Dutch wanting everyone to think only orange carrots are available. The Monster Study. The Monster Study was a stuttering experiment performed on 22 orphan children in Davenport, Iowa in 1939. It was conducted by Wendell Johnson at the University of Iowa. Graduate student Mary Tudor conducted the experiment under Johnson's supervision. Half of the children received positive speech therapy, praising the fluency of their speech, and the other half, negative speech therapy, belittling the children for speech imperfections. Many of the normal-speaking orphan children who received negative therapy in the experiment suffered negative psychological effects, and some retained speech problems for the rest of their lives. Project Northwoods was proposed an idea from the CIA in which they would rain terror on the American people via random terrorist attacks, military ships being sunk and plane hijackings in which they would blame on Cuba and therefore get the public behind the idea to go to war with Cuba. JFK declined. The Hawaiian royalty was toppled by a fruit company, Dole. Fruit companies did all sorts of crazy and terrible shit. There's a reason we have the term Banana Republic. It originally referred to puppet governments installed by mostly US-based fruit companies to exploit cheap labor and land in prime fruit-growing regions. And now it's a chain of stores that sells overpriced clothes. The FBI was constantly stalking Ernest Hemingway and it led to his suicide. But why? Ernie liked to travel to Cuba. Cuba even made a stamp of Hemingway. Hemingway, being extremely popular and a world-class writer, could very quickly and effectively sway public opinion if he wanted to, by publishing a well-written book or essay. The FBI didn't want any surprises. Edit, spelling. The US government did biological warfare testing on the public in San Francisco. Bioweapon testing in San Francisco. GM bought the electric railcar system, then destroyed the tracks. The documentary Who Killed the Electric Car has a great summary of this and other things GM have done to make sure cars are the dominant form of transportation. Both the US and Russia use dolphins and whales to spy on countries. Edit: the US also uses seals as in the animals for protection at some of their marine bases. And thank you for so many upvotes. Like, now? I know they tested shit a while back. Can I get some more info? Yeah. Norway found one just last weekend. Why is this so funny? I imagine the beluga ping back like comrades I've been made. Duck, where did I put that cyanide krill? Edit: Spazabo for the silver and gold. It's entirely possible to receive your tax forms pre-filled by the US government. They already have all your information, and this is the way it's done in other Western nations. Unfortunately, the owners of TurboTax have paid off enough congressmen to keep it from happening. In fact, they're not content with just stopping it. They want to make sure it's impossible forever, and they're about to succeed. Happy Tax Day. Here in Sweden we have had the option of saying yup, these pre-filled numbers checks out and I don't have any additional deductibles via SMS for more than 10 years. This means you get your returns at an earlier date since no actual human needs to be involved. In Norway, if everything looks good I don't have to do anything. Then it's just assumed it's all good. Same in Finland. You only have to do something if the numbers need fixing, and that can be done easily online. The CIA has a real-deal heart attack gun. It was exposed to the public in the 70s. Edit: here's an article video about it military.com. Not only does the US Gov have a heart attack gun, it also has other means of sci-fi spy weapons. Such as mounted radar dishes that can cause mass hysteria for crowd control via high-pressure frequency waves, among other crowd manipulation devices. Edit: just a clarification, I did mean the microwave gun. I was both A, intoxicated while writing this, and B, pulling what little bits from my memory I could. Many users below have figured out what I meant. Sorry for the confusion and word jumble, they'll try and do better next time. One of the more awful crowd control weapons they have is the active denial system, which shoots a microwave frequency RF beam at a crowd to disperse it. If it hits you, your skin feels like it's on fire, but it causes no lasting injury. The problem is, you immediately want to run away. This can cause people to die in stampedes. And imagine if they turned it on a group of people boxed in an alley. If it hits you, your skin feels like it's on fire, but it causes no lasting injury. It bothers me that every single source I've ever read about it said that the reason it causes no lasting injury is that the pain makes you run away before lasting injury is caused. This is a rather suspicious way of saying it. The ancient Egyptians had a pregnancy test that actually worked. I'm listening. 1350 Kyon of the earliest written records of a urine-based pregnancy test can be found in an ancient Egyptian document. A papyrus described a test in which a woman who might be pregnant could urinate on wheat and barley seeds over the course of several days. If the barley grows, it means a male child. If the wheat grows, it means a female child. If both do not grow, she will not bear at all. Testing of this theory in 1963 found that 70% of the time, the urine of pregnant women did promote growth, while the urine of non-pregnant women and men did not. Scholars have identified this as perhaps the first test to detect a unique substance in the urine of pregnant women, and have speculated that elevated levels of estrogens in pregnant women's urine may have been the key to its success. History.nih.gov. Project Acoustic Kitty. Basically, the CIA wanted to put microphones and transmitters inside of cats and use them to spy on the Soviets in the 1960s. It cost about $20 million and was a huge failure. Allegedly, the first attempt at this resulted in the cat running out into the street and getting run over by a car almost immediately. The US government pardoned hundreds of Japanese war criminals who did things that would have made Joseph Mengele blush in exchange for their research on biological warfare that they conducted on live human subjects. n.m.wikipedia.org. Not really a conspiracy, but I recently read that the Department of Navy and DARPA released Tor to the general public so people could create enough noise to mask the real agents who would need it. Turns out that if you control about plus 30% of the nodes, you can triangulate entry and exit connections. What do these words mean? I'll try to explain it. I'm on mobile though, so I can't go into too much detail. Tor basically works like this. There are three types of networking nodes: entry nodes, relays, and exit nodes. Each list of available servers is announced once an hour, so that clients have an up-to-date list of those. Whenever your client makes a request to any server, it randomly picks one node of each set and prepares the packet. For example, the real ClearNet packet is encrypted so that only the exit node can read it. This packet in turn is encrypted so that only the chosen relay node can read it, along with the info to which exit node the Tor packet should go. This packet in turn is, you guessed it, encrypted for the entry node, so, in theory, every hop on the path, entry, relay, exit, only know the node the packet came from and where the packet goes next, making it, in theory, impossible to say user A has accessed website X. However, if you control a decent amount, in %, of entry and exit nodes, then it is possible to do traffic analysis, and then it is possible that you can track a user's packet's path, the very thing Tor should protect against. If an entity would control all 3 nodes which your client picks for a given connection, then this entity would have it even easier. Exactly why it's so important to use a VPN outside the Five Eyes when dealing with Tor in case of an IP leak or an entity controlling a large number of nodes. The Five Eyes? The US, UK, Canada, Australia and New Zealand. Essentially 5 Anglophone countries that outsource their surveillance and intelligence gathering of their own people to one of the other trusted 4, so they can say with a level of credibility that they themselves don't spy on their citizens. n.m.wikipedia.org. This should be a comment on the post within itself.